Greetings, Helldivers, and welcome back to R.A.S.H Tactics. We're here today for episode 9, and in today's episode we are going to be covering an E710 extraction mission and its sub-objectives. So, for this particular mission, it is specific to the Terminids, so you'll never encounter this one when you are facing off against the automatons, and that has to do with the story and the lore behind this game, which is that E710 is something that Super Earth extracts from the Terminids themselves. Now, I'm not exactly sure on the process behind how they extract it, but I believe it has something to do with decomposition and their bodies after we've wiped them out from a planet. So I would imagine that it's something to do with their bodies decomposing and turning into oil. If you were to look a little bit further into it and look at the 710, spin it around, turn the 7 upside down, you've got oil, and also the substance that we're extracting from the pipelines into the ships on this mission certainly looks like oil, so that would be my best guess. This mission does also come with a side objective to activate the oil pumps, and I believe on higher difficulties it also has the standard power generator mission like others do, or sub-objective, so just to be aware that on higher difficulties you will have additional sub-objectives to complete, although I haven't done this one myself particularly, so I haven't seen if it does come with a side objective. 90% of them do, so I would imagine that this one does as well. Okay, let's get started on this first sub-objective where we need to activate the E710 pumps, and like with the majority of other objectives in the game, this one starts with a panel. Once you've activated that panel, you'll then need to enter a shortcode like you're calling in a stratagem, and then you'll have to redirect the E710 flow. Now, with this screen, it's probably the most technically advanced minigame the game has so far, but it's not too difficult once you've done it a few times. It is literally just, you need to match the E710 outflow on the left with the transfer station on the right by adjusting the pipe segments that are unlocked. You'll notice on our screen here we have 2 padlocks on certain segments where we cannot adjust those, so there's only 3 segments we need to adjust. It's fairly straightforward. Once you've adjusted it, you'll get the idea of which segment you need to change to make sure that the 2 destinations match, but it can be a bit of a hassle when you're on higher difficulties and you've got constant waves of bugs attacking you, especially if it's the smaller scavengers. When the bugs hit you, they can knock you off the screen and then you have to run back over to it, so it can be a bit of a nightmare sometimes on the higher difficulties, but as long as you've got a squad of 4 and 3 of them are defending you whilst you're doing the screen, it should be fairly simple and straightforward to do. After you've realigned those segments, you'll then need to manually adjust the 3 separate valves that can be found in the surrounding compound area. So with these valves, they are pretty straightforward to spot, unless they have some Terminid biomatter covering them. So the valves themselves are pretty simple to spot. They just have these kind of bright glowing red lights that, that kind of show where they are. All you have to do is run up, activate the valve and spin it sideways. I'm not sure if it matters if you go left or right. I don't think it does, and you don't have to hold it down until it's in the right position. You just press the button once and it spins and it's open. You're all sorted. But one thing you will notice is that some of these valves are quite difficult to spot as the red light isn't visible. Now, the reason why this is because the Terminids have blocked those valves with their own type of biomatter. It essentially looks like this kind of orange fleshy sack that's kind of covering the valve itself. All you really have to do is just shoot it a few times and that sack will blow up, and then you'll gain access to the valve in order to open it. After you have adjusted those 3 valves, you'll then need to go back over to the panel and activate it once again. You'll then have to wait for a loading bar, which will take about 30 seconds, and once that's finished, you'll then have completed the sub-objective and can make your way over to the main one. Right, now that we've made our way over to the main objective, you'll notice this one is located within another human compound, but this compound features a lot more industrial machinery and scaffolding and stuff like that, so it's quite easy to spot. But as usual, I would recommend pinging it on the minimap so it appears on your compass. You'll notice there's another panel inside this compound, and in front of that panel you'll see an exposed bit of pipeline that has an opening on one side of it. After you've activated the panel, it will then prompt you to go and reopen another valve, the exact same as you did on the sub-objective, but there's only one. Sometimes it can be covered by the biomatter, so you might need to shoot that off in order to open it. Once you've opened that valve, you just need to go back over to the panel and activate it once again. Once it's activated, you'll notice that the opening on the exposed pipeline in front of the panel will start spewing out E710. As it's doing that, a shuttle will then be coming down from your destroyer in orbit, and as the shuttle starts hovering over the pipeline, it will extend a pipe from underneath it directly into the opening that's spewing out the E710. Once it's inside there, you'll then be prompted to go up to the opening and close the valve so that the shuttle can start pumping the E710 into its cargo bay or its container. I'm not sure what they call it exactly. This process takes about 20 seconds, so you'll just have to defend yourself. I believe bugs will also come in and attack. You might even get patrols coming in because obviously the shuttle makes a bit of noise. After it's finished pumping the E710, you'll then have to reopen the valve in order to let the pipeline go back into the shuttle, and then the shuttle will fly off. After the first shuttle has flown away, you'll then have a second one come in and you'll have to repeat the same steps as the first one. Again, you'll have another about 30-second wait whilst the shuttle is transferring the E710 to its cargo bay, so you will have to defend yourself whilst it's doing that. After it's finished, it will fly away and the objective is completed.
Another triumph for managed democracy. May liberty guide your safe extraction.
And that is everything for this mission. There isn't a lot else I can tell you about this one. Like I said in the main objective, make sure you are on your toes when transferring the E710 to the shuttles. I believe that the noise of the shuttles can attract nearby patrols and any bugs, so you might get attacked whilst that's happening, so just make sure to defend yourself, but also make sure you're keeping an eye on the valve so that you can open it once the transfer is complete and get the next shuttle in. You'll probably have also noticed that I only had about 20 seconds of the mission timer left after completing that objective, so I only had about 2.5 minutes to get over to the extraction. I'm pretty sure I made it there in time and got out of that mission pretty okay, but I cannot remember what it was that caused me to take so long getting there in the first place. I think this was one of those missions that just threw about 1,000,001 hunters at me. You might have also noticed I only had one reinforced left at the end, so yeah, I'm pretty sure it was hunter swarms that kept making me take a lot longer to actually complete it. I was also trying to farm medals at the time as well, because I believe we'd had a new war bond come out, so I was trying to farm up some medals in order to unlock as many of the new goodies as possible. But yeah, that is pretty much everything for this episode. Thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.